Today, we're looking at Fanatical's Killer Bundle 14. Let's get into it. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Adrian Reddix, and today we're looking at Fanatical's Killer Bundle 14. It's 9 games costing $4.99. And this bundle, unlike the previous bundles, it isn't a mystery bundle, so we knew exactly what we were getting into before I purchased the game. So a couple things to know before we get into this. This is just an initial review. I don't play the game all the way through, just to see my initial impressions, if I like the game, because I believe if I can make my decision on if I like a game in the first 30 or 40 minutes. So games that start off slow or they're just boring and they don't hold my attention, I don't have the time to pursue games like that. But a couple of these games I think are going to be in my rotation of games that I play. So let's get into it. The first game in this bundle is a show that my wife loves to watch, Peaky Blinders, Mastermind. You join all your favorite characters from the series. If you hadn't seen the series, you need to watch it. It's a really good series. It's about this family in Birmingham. You have Tommy, the Shelbys. Tommy, Polly, Arthur, Ada, and it's, for lack of a better word, it's a gang. People of a family, and they run this neighborhood. That's how they make their money. They are a gambling house. Anything they can do to make a little buck and control their little slice of Birmingham. So in this game, you play as different characters, mainly Tommy, who is the lead character in the show, and it kind of is based around the show. You know, they had just got back from World War One, and the first mission is a celebration, right? So you find out that you could rewind and fast forward time in this game. So you complete an action. Let's go through one of the scenarios. So Tommy has to get through a door that he can't operate from one side. So he uses this ability. He has this ability to connect with certain people, be like, hey, you know, we're the Shelbys, you know, help us out, you know, this will do much for the neighborhood. So you'll go and operate a switch that opens a door. And then after 15 or whatever seconds, the guy isn't under your mind control or whatever it is. So you have to rewind time, and as the guy is opening the door, you have to take back control from the guy that you convinced to open the door to Shelby, so he could walk through the door. Let's say that you have another character, then you have to rewind time. It's a strategy puzzle type game, and it's a very interesting game. Now, the big issue a lot of the time is when you have movies and TV shows and games is that they're very not compatible. Most of the times you have a really good movie or TV show, and when there's a game based on it, it doesn't come to expectations. I can think of a myriad of superhero movies from the early 2000s and their corresponding games that were not good. You'll have the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, which is not a bad movie, and then you'd have the video game based on it, and it was horrible. This is not the case with Peaky Blinders Mastermind. That the game, although it's short, I went through, it seems like 3 puzzles. The game is short, but it still is as interesting as the show as far as what you do and how you figure out the puzzle. It's a very interesting, especially the one about getting the champagne for the party. I think that was a pretty good puzzle. On Steam, this game got a 7 out of 10, and the price on Steam is $24.99. Hey guys, I think we're already in deal territory. $4.99 for the bundle, $24.99 for this game. We're already getting a good deal. Peaky Blinders, I'm going to give a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 Adrians. It's a pretty good game. The next game. Next game is a game called Project Cars. Project Cars is a racing game. And I got into it. I'm like, all right, I love racing games. I think I'm going to admit something that I hadn't admitted to anybody. I don't think I'm good at racing games. No matter how good or how much I love the game, I just am not good. And I think that has to go with the issue that I try to play all the racing games on a keyboard. I hadn't tried it on my gamepad because I lost the dongle. I don't know where it is. And I'm kids. So this is a racing game, and it has all different class of cars, from go-karts all the way up to Formula One. If you go to career mode, which that's what I play, you start off as a kart racer. You start off at the very bottom and you work your way up. And as far as the racing aspect of it, it's a very realistic game. Unlike Dirt Rally, you don't have to learn a whole new way to control the car or control the game. So if you're familiar with racing games and how to get into the apex and get out of it, I know it's a very technical term, and how to control your oversteer and your understeer, then you can get through these just like a lot of the other racing games like Gran Turismo and Forza. If you were playing racing games, I would definitely try to either get a gamepad or, in a perfect scenario, get a racing wheel with pedals so you can, just like you're driving a regular car, you can get more control and a better playing experience with that racing wheel. An interesting aspect of this game is when you're in your console for career mode. Let's say you just had a horrible season or horrible race. You'll have on the right side the social media, and you're experiencing the life of a athlete or a racer, which I consider them athletes, in today's era with social media. So you'll have people post like, oh man, Adrian didn't do so well today, or he was very slow, man, he was trash, or things like that. And if you win, you have all this adulation and praise, like, oh man, I knew he could do it, oh, he looked like he was on pace today. It's a very subtle thing that doesn't affect the gameplay, but as far as like the overall experience, it definitely affects that. So let's say you're getting better at this kart race. So more teams will inbox you on your email saying, hey, we want to sign you. We want to take you to the next level up. And you just continue to progress your career till you get to the top. It's a very, very realistic game. I definitely like it. On Steam, Project Cars got a 7 out of 10. The regular price is $19.99, and I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's that good. I think if I had a racing wheel, that the experience would be that much better, and it could possibly be a 5 out of 5. It's a really good game. The next game is a game called Center Tycoon. You play as it's a simulation management type game. So you are the owner of a rec center. You start off with so much money and you're trying to build the best fitness gym, recreation center you can. It's just like any other sim management game. You build out from scratch. So you start off by building the building, and you don't have much, so it's just you and your manager, right? So your manager is building and building and building, and you have to hit all these milestones before you even open the doors. So you have to have a bathroom, you have to have equipment, you gotta run cable for electrical, you have to have a ceiling, you have to do all these things just to make sure that you can just even open and start taking money. So once you get all these things done, you have to start hiring employees. And hiring employees, just like in real life, you have to know what the person is good at and if they're good for that job. So I'll tell you how it bit me in the butt. So once you get through and progress, you can start having food. So I hired a cook and a barista, which was a cashier, and people started getting sick. And I was like, I wonder why people are getting sick from this food. Maybe I forgot like something, like some sanitary something. But when I go look at the attributes for my cook, they have a bunch of attributes, and one of them is cleanliness. And instead of being all the way in the green, he was just barely barely in the red. So he was making my people sick because he wasn't clean. Had to fire him. And so it's just like in real life. You have to match the person with the job. That's just how it is. And then you have, as far as employees, people who love to work and you want long hours, and you have people who don't like to work that long and shorten that. So it's a very realistic way of managing employees, because you have to manage different personalities and different work styles. To me, the game still seems like it's still developing. Like there's still parts of the game that aren't really available. It doesn't feel like a complete game. That being said, it's still a fun game. You can see that they're still developing because some of you people have face masks. So they'll come in with their face mask on, right? It just seems like it's a very topical game for the day. You know, how many games you playing where people are having a face mask on? I mean, it's very topical. I think it's a really fun game. On Steam, this game got a 9 out of 10. The cost is $11.99, and I give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's just a really good game if you're into management simulation games, and I just so happen to be. Next game. The next game is a game called Close to the Sun. Close to the Sun, you start off as a character named Rose, and you're reading a letter from your sister named Ada, and she's on this ship, and she's telling her all these different things that she's doing, and wants her sister to come join her. The game is a very steampunk looking game. You, as Rose, get up, they give you this communicator where you can, you know, talk to Ada and whoever else you need to talk to. So you get on this boat and you travel to the ship that she's on. So the game is a very dark game, as far as like, it's not a lot of light, and it's just dark. So you operate this bridge, get over it, go through these doors, and as you go through the doors, you turn around and they shut on you. And on the doors it has in big red letters, quarantine. Okay. So you're going through, and you know, you get to the elevator and it says, hey, you got to learn how to operate these switches on the elevator, or you got to flip switches to go up on the elevator. That's fine. So you go into one side and flip a switch, and then Nikola Tesla starts talking to you. And he's saying that, hey, you're not authorized, this is a quarantine, you don't need to be here, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So I go to the other side to activate that switch, and then you see a shadow, and Rose says, hey, who's there? And a light cuts off, and you hear something scurrying. So I went and hit the exit button on the game. I'm like, nope, not me, because I figured out what the game was. The game is a walking simulator, which is not bad, but it's also a horror survival game. And I knew as soon as I saw the light go off, this game is for me. I don't like horror survival games. I don't like playing as a victim, being helpless. Like, I knew something was up when I didn't get a gun or a knife or a shield, or I punched something. I don't like those types of games. I went to, I was like, well, maybe it's not that bad. So I went to go look at IGN's review. I'll put that in the description. The IGN review confirmed what I thought. You were running, some scenes you were running away from people and they caught you. If they caught you, they stabbed you. Or you walked in and somebody has their throat slashed. I'm just not in those type of games. I can see why people would like this game. There's nothing aesthetically wrong with the game. It's a beautiful game. But the premise of the game is based on Nikola Tesla. And it's what would happen if all of Nikola Tesla's crazy ideas came true and they were actually successful, and he actually went through with them. With the rise of Elon Musk and his company Tesla and a renewed interest in Nikola Tesla, I could see how people would like to play this game and just see some of those things. The game's just not for me. This game on Steam received 7 out of 10. The cost is $19.99. I gave it a 1 out of 5. And it's not anything to do with the game itself. It has all to do with what type of game it is. I don't like survival horrors. The last game of this video, but the 5th game of the bundle, is a game called Chris Sawyer's Locomotion. If you're old enough, you remember Chris Sawyer from a lot of games like Roller Coaster Tycoon, which it's in this bundle. We'll have that on the next video. And different games like that. So Roller Coaster Tycoon is you are playing a sim game. That's what it is. And you're simming being a railroad builder. So you're trying to, I think you started in 1900. You're trying to build a viable railroad system to carry people and freight and mail from town to town, right? Simple enough. The game is what they call a isometric game. So just like we talked about before, it's a 2D game, but instead of doing a top-down view or a straight-on view, you take the view and kind of, the view is from like an angle. So it looks 3D when it's not 3D. And usually with those isometric games, it was a technique that they use just to add a little more depth to the game. I don't think it's either good or bad. It's just what it is. With a lot of these Chris Sawyer games, as far as instruction on how to use the game, it's kind of not, if you're not in that mindset of, early 2000s, late 90s, then, the way you get through a game or start a game back then isn't the same intuitive nature that you use now. It's a little easier now. So it took me a while to remember how these games operate. So you go through and just try to make the best railroad empire. And there's so many things you can do as far as terraforming, making hills or making valleys, and what types of tracks you use. You can do a monorail, you can do a regular train track, what type of trains you run on that. It can just be straight passenger, or it can be just a mail run, or it can just be we're just carrying coal to the coal plant or fire plant or the energy plant. Why would you carry coal to a coal plant? I don't know. So you're just participating in commerce, trying to become a railroad tycoon. Pretty much. This game on Steam received a 9 out of 10. The cost is $5.99, and I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. It's not a bad game. It is definitely a blast from the past, and if you're into that nostalgia aspect and you like sim games, you like building games, it is a great game to have. That's it, guys. This is part 1 of this video. I didn't have a video last week, so I'm gonna give you 2 this week. So expect the next video in a very short time. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. Tell me why you didn't like this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one.